Action Comics 1095, Mark Waid writing with Patricio Delpeche on the art. So yes, so the cliffhanger last time is that Pete, whilst camping with Clark, saw him return as Superboy and get changed, so he knows he's Superboy now. And this issue is told entirely from the perspective of Pete Ross. He's the one narrating the story, which I thought was a nice touch. That was an inspired choice to switch to his focus and make it his issue. And basically he is in a weird place where he is mad that Clark never told him this and is obsessing over it, and he's acting weird, but he doesn't tell Clark that he knows. He kind of just sort of goes about his day and is given the brush off, and Lana kind of notices it and is like, wait, what did you do to Pete? He's acting all weird with you. He's like, I don't know, like, everything's fine. So it's very much that. It's very much him exploring this idea of like feeling like, why wouldn't Clark tell me? And then by the end of the story, of course, he witnesses a few things that sort of get the point across. Is obviously the most obvious thing in the world is that, oh well, because anyone who knows might be in danger, and they tell that because just a rumor being spread that Lana is dating Superboy puts her in danger. So the idea that he knows Superboy might become a problem potentially, and he gets that, but he also learns to accept the idea that, well, his reasons for telling him might not be because he doesn't trust Pete or doesn't want him to know. It might be more of a, maybe more of a good reason. And they actually have like a sort of little, like a side story that explains that idea a little bit. There's this other character in the school who seemingly was gay and had that secret, and Pete had found out about it. And the reason why that the other kid never told anyone is because his parents were having a rocky marriage, and he thought that coming out might actually accelerate a divorce. Yeah. So there was a reason for it beyond, just the more obvious, like keeping it to himself kind of thing. So, it was a nice, pleasant teenage story, I thought, this issue.
Yeah, I appreciate Waid that, despite being a middle-aged man, really can nail these teenage relatability type stuff, right? Because
Matt, I hate to break this to you, but he is past middle age. He is not a middle-aged man anymore.
I was trying to be nice, okay? I don't,
like
he's not elderly though, but we'll say an older.
He's closer to elderly than he is middle-aged at this point, I think. He's been around a while.
So but the point still stands is that he's still able to get this very relatable story about friendship and about like, so does he not trust me? How come you can't tell me these things? We're best friends. Like, what have I done to not do it? And then the fact that we see Pete come around to it by these actions, right? And it's not nothing that Superboy or Clark tells Pete, right? It's him seeing this on his own and putting it together. I really appreciate that, so.
Yeah, and by the end of the book, when he does sort of realize, maybe I was wrong for being mad, and I can see why he didn't tell me, he kind of like starts stealthily helping Clark, because he's like, oh, now I know what that look in his face means when he hears someone in trouble. I can tell that he's got Superboy business to go do. So he intentionally distracts everyone so he can run off at one point. And Clark doesn't know he's doing this, but he spills some chemicals in the chem lab, so everyone has to evacuate. So it's fun.
It gets those dynamics. I also like that when Pete looks at Ma Kent and he's just like, oh, did they do this to him? Are they like secret geniuses? They gave him like a special serum, or like, did they take him to the government? And had him, like, I loved all that type of stuff too, because again, that's very teenage, like not thinking things through, right? And like just jumping to the biggest thing you can think of. And then we get some on the next page, all the stuff that Clark's doing while he's, while Ma is worried about Pete, right? Because she sees that he's carrying the world on his shoulders. And so we see, Superboy helping someone stuck under a tree and saving someone from a lion, and then people that have been, their boat is capsized, and he's running around doing Superboy stuff, and Pete is over here in an introspective hell. So, a lot of fun stuff.
Well, I mean, it kind of points out that idea when you're a teenager, everything feels like the world's ending. So this idea that he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders when Superboy's literally going around saving people is kind of an interesting comparison. And I do like how it teases the plot that eventually makes Pete realize everything, because like you see like different kids like spreading rumors about Lana dating Superboy, like, oh, he's taking her to Paris for her birthday, and like, and you just see this like one character in a hat turn around and look at them, and you're like, oh no, that's setting something up. And it turns out this character's brother was like taken in by Superboy, and now he's in jail because he did something bad, and he blames Superboy, so he wants to do something to Lana to get back at him, to send a message, and that's why we end up with our little predicament near the end where, you know, Lana, you know, the guy doesn't mean to throw her off the edge of this like kind of balcony, but it happens, and Superboy obviously swoops in at the last minute. But it's
what was he planning though? If he wasn't gonna throw her off of this cliff face, right? What he's just gonna threaten her until Superboy shows up, and then he can get his butt kicked by Superboy? Like,
well, the last thing that happens before she falls over is she hits him, so it doesn't imply that he pushes her. It's more just that she punches him and loses her balance, but they're right at the edge. So I think it is like the actual falling over the edge is accidental, which is not to defend this guy because he's an asshole, but like, I don't think he was intended on trying to murder her at the very least.
Gotcha. I thought he was gonna do the old thing where they throw Lois off a building, and here comes Superman, you know, or Lois throws herself off the building rather. But I also we get a nice moment, and I really like the art here with what it's doing with the blues and purples. Love this like sunset, because it really makes the red pop when Superboy does show up with his cape. But he scoops her up and is like, "Are you hurt?" And Lana's like, "I'm fine now." And just the angle and the smile, like the sheepish, like, oh, schoolgirl kind of thing.
Well,
I really
after
like
he gives a telling off to the bullies, she runs over and hugs him and says, "Thank you, Superboy." And it feels like she's pouncing on him in a you know, a nice way. And you know, like Pete hears all this and says, "Hey," like Superboy says, "You better like try and like dispel some of these rumors that are going around because it will put you in danger." And Pete hears all this and he kind of starts to get kind of the idea. And at the end when he flies off, Lana's looking up going wow, and Pete's just like face palming going oh boy, and then you know Superboy's face is like all love heart. It's like okay, so now we have this predicament where, as Pete himself puts it, Lana, Superboy, and Clark are in a two-person love triangle, but now we have the added element of Pete is aware of all of this, but neither of them know that he's aware of all this. So we've got so it's going to be fun maybe until, I don't know, the end of the arc or whatever, whenever it comes out that Pete knows, because at some point he's going to jump out and tell him or do something that helps Superboy that's going to reveal it, and it'll be a moment. So yeah. Also,
I never thought about this is the idea that Lana ends up marrying a Superman regardless, right? Because she ends up married to Steel. And so I never really thought about that till right now when you're talking about the who knows this and they know that and all this other stuff. So very, very funny.
So very pleasant, and the art I think is very suited for the teenage kind of, you know, very, very Archie-esque in a lot of ways. I'm sure we said this last time because it was the same artist last issue. But it definitely fit for this. Yeah, definitely hitting early Riverdale, like not the TV show, but like the essence that is the Archie universe. It's really hitting those. Just the it's like somehow it feels like the 50s, but we know it's not because people have cell phones, but people are still wearing like varsity jackets and blue jeans, and like the cars look classic. So there's this weird in between kind of time. So it hits that kind of small town. Which I'm all for. I love when I'm watching a movie that I almost think set in the 80s, but then someone whips out a smartphone and I'm like, oh, they just made it look like this. They didn't actually. They're not actually trying to pretend to be a different time period. They just got this cool aesthetic down, which is nice. So yeah, no, really solid. You know, this run continues to be a very pleasant, consistent time. Which, you know, unlike the other Mark Waid books which I have dropped into the fire pits of apocalypse, this one is stuck around because it's actually very pleasant to read with good character work. Yes. So nice. What do you give it, Actually Comics? I'm gonna give this a straight 8. Yeah, I think I could maybe be tempted to the 8.5. I could be, but I think I'll probably stick with 8. But it's kind of like teetering there, just going up a little bit, because I did really like this issue. That's when we really don't like something, we should really just say Fire Pits of Apocalypse and then move on. Like, yeah, but I think there should be a tier below it where it's like the like you get the fire pits, but then you've got like the where they go to the toilet on Apocalypse, the shit house of Apocalypse, where all the dark side turds are just hanging around.
Yeah.
The Omega turds, if you will.
The Omega turds, yeah. Right out of Darkseid's crack.
Right out of Darkseid's crack.